So in one of your videos recently, I love when you said, now sometimes you can't tell the difference whether you're channeling or whether you're just speaking as yourself. I know there's a slight difference when you go into it, but the wisdom in you now is the same almost, I feel. There's a, you know, are very close. You've been doing this so long now that there's nothing lost in translation, I wouldn't say. So you said this thing, you said people are choosing now a side. We're still on the subject of duality. And you said that there is an opportunity where you don't choose, okay, where you go above that and there's no need to choose. And I've always been suspicious about when I'd have a belief and I'd be at a dinner party and I would have this belief and I'd be pontificating about it and trying to convince the other person that what I was believing was correct. And then sometimes I'd be in a real, I'd do a workshop and I'd be real in a floaty kind of mood. And I'd say, I don't have any beliefs. I would have the ability not to feel like I didn't need a belief. And I feel that beliefs are actually very, very limiting for humans. We don't really need them. We need to navigate within this open space. But can you talk to me about that place where you don't choose? I think you might remember saying it, where as I said, everybody's choosing a side. So that space where you go into where you don't have the need to choose a side, you just stay within this kind of openness and there's no need to cling on to anything. Can you talk about what that feels like?
That's such a great question. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Thank you. You know, in a world of duality, we think we have choice. And this is so interesting because I grappled with it personally since I was a really young child, this concept of free will. And I know we used to talk about free will a lot. And I'd think, well, if there's free will and then we're all one, how does that really work? So it was a bit of a conundrum for me for many, many years. And I've come to the realization, well, my current realization, it always expands and evolves. My current realization, as the masters have explained so beautifully, is that we having choice or having free will in third dimensional reality is like choosing between A and B. Do you want the apple or the orange? And so you think you have choice, but I'll have the orange. I got to choose that orange. But once your consciousness expands and you begin to become aware that there's potentials and possibilities beyond third dimensional reality, you start to realize actually you're not really given a choice at all. Because every choice you make in duality or in a third dimensional reality is a sacrifice, it's opportunity cost. So I'm going to choose the orange, but I have to sacrifice the apple. So every choice is a sacrifice. And that's what our economies are based on this. Our schooling system is based on this. If you choose this subject, you can't do that subject. If this is the direction you're going to go in, you can't do that. I mean, it's extraordinary the way we're streamed in such a linear way to narrow our focus to one thing at a time. And we think that it's choice. So I love this example the masters use of going into a restaurant, and you go into a restaurant in the current reality that we've known, and you get the a la carte menu, and there's all this choice. Yes, but you choose one entree and one main and one dessert, and you have to decide which ones you don't want in order to choose the one that you do want. And what happens is you tend to go round and around, and this is where people get stuck sometimes and have difficulty making choice. If you're having difficulty making choice, be aware that you're not actually having choice. So the ultimate choice actually is to be able to walk over to the buffet and try a bit of everything. There's no sacrifice involved. And that's really a fantastic way of illustrating where we're going with fifth dimensional reality. Because once our consciousness expands collectively beyond this, suddenly there's going to be way more possibilities and choices than there have been. So it's a little bit hard to get your head around at the moment, but the doorway between third and fifth dimensional reality is the I don't know. As soon as we step into, well, I don't know, what else is there? What's the third choice? What's the third option? Or I'm choosing not to choose either of these. What else have you got? You know, on the a la carte menu, what else have you got? It's choosing not to choose. It's so powerful. And even to be able to say, I don't know what I want is so powerful, because what it does is it unlocks us out of that sacrificial way of choosing. And suddenly there's all of these other options. It's like a magic door opens and there's all of these other things you didn't even know that you could choose, because you never thought to say, I don't want anything that's on offer. And yet I think we see a lot of the younger generation doing this right now. You know, they say, I don't really want to do this, that, or the other. I don't want any of it. And when we go through an awakening, a spiritual awakening, so many of us say, well, I don't really want this career anymore, but I don't know what I want. And I don't really want to do this anymore, but I don't know what I want. And it feels like you're lost, but actually what's doing is you're actually opening up to more. So that's my view on choice at the moment. So
Okay, so
choosing not to choose is actually very empowering. It gives you more.
I've never heard it described like that before. And it's kind of, yeah, it's really good, the analogy about the buffet, you know, because I'd be that type of person. I love sharing food and trying everything, you know, so that really spoke to me.